The very final OHL game we ever played at Joe Louis Arena. Yeah, head coach of the Saginaw Spirit, Spencer Carberry here. Head coach of the Windsor Spitfires, Rocky Thompson. Chris Draper, assistant GM of the Detroit Red Wings, and Pat Beek, head coach of Hockey Radio 16s here, and also a former Detroit Junior Red Wing player, to talk about this. So without further ado, here's head coach of the Saginaw Spirit, Spencer Carberry.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. I'll just be brief and just basically talk a little bit about our organization, our team from a hockey perspective, and then how much this game and how important it is to our players and our organization. We've got a couple of players on our team that should be moving up to the pro level next year. Are probably two marquee names. Our captain, Mitchell Stevens, a second-round draft pick with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were in here the other night, who will be on display December 4th. And then another player that everyone is probably in this area a little bit more familiar with, the second-round draft pick of last year with the Detroit Red Wings, Philip Roenick. And Philip's gotten off to a great start. I think he's actually pretty unique, but leading our team in scoring as a defenseman. And your prototypical power play, a real terrific skater, plays with his head up, makes a lot of plays, really exciting to watch at the OHL level. So he'll be a real treat to see December 4th in this building. Then just quickly touch on the experience. I can tell you from being around our guys, the guys in the locker room that now know this game is going on, it's a pretty special deal, not only with this building and it being its last year, the history and the players and the storied organization that the Wings, but these players are getting to play a lot of them a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play in an NHL building in front of a great crowd in such a historic place. They are extremely excited to be able to have the honor of playing this. And like I said, for a majority of them, it's once in a lifetime. They'll never get another opportunity to do something like this on December 4th. And then just to touch on the rivalry and the history of this is Windsor's obviously having a tremendous year, and the proximity of Saginaw and a lot of our fan base, and I'm sure, I don't want to speak for Rocky, but their fan base are Wings fans in this area, and it's the proximity makes it excuse me, and the amount of games that we play against Windsor during the year is going to make it well, it has made it a great rivalry, and this game, Windsor matched up against Saginaw, our guys, you know, we want to give them a good run for their money. We know it's a big year for them, but we also want to make sure that we give them everything that we got here in the Joe. We want to put on a good show for the fans that come out and watch December 4th.
Just to touch on what Spencer has said, it is a good rivalry between Saginaw. We've played them once already this year, and it was a tightly contested game. They make you earn every inch of ice, so I know the game is going to be very exciting. Like Spencer mentioned, it's a very important year for us. We're hosting the Memorial Cup this year. We do have a good team. We're off to a good start. And for the opportunity to play in a historic building, the Joe Louis Arena, and how special that is for our players, they're obviously very excited. We have a lot of players that live close to home playing in Windsor. Sean Day is a player we just acquired, and he's a local boy who grew up watching the Detroit Red Wings. Jalen Chatfield is another young man who grew up and played minor hockey in Detroit, and now is you know, an NHL prospect, really. So this is a great opportunity against a team that is up and coming, and to play in a place like this, it truly is exciting. I know there are a lot of Detroit Red Wings fans in Windsor, and so they grew up, as our ownership did, in Windsor. Warren Reichel and Bob Lundner, who would come across, and they had the opportunity to play in the Joe Louis Arena, being NHL careers that they had, but also as young men and boys coming over with their parents. It's a special day, it's a special event on December the 4th, and I know the Windsor Spitfires and myself personally feel honored to be a part of this event.
Well, thank you very much for the invite to be here on behalf of the Detroit Red Wings. I think if you look around this room, you're going to see some legendary players that not only played for the Detroit Red Wings, but also impacted the OHL career and started their careers in the OHL. And obviously the first name that comes to mind the great Peterborough Pete, Steve Yzerman. Stevie Y drafted out of Peterborough, went on obviously to have a Hall of Fame career. You look up in the rafters, you see the captain, number 19, Steve Yzerman, up there. And a lot of that, I'm sure if you ask Stevie, a lot of that was his experience playing in the OHL, playing for Dick Todd, having a coach that impacted him on and off the ice, and turned out, not only to be one of the greatest players of all time, but obviously one of the greatest Red Wings of all time. We don't want to talk about what he's done with the Tampa Bay Lightning because they seem to always beat us. So we're gonna skip right. Then you look at a player like Larry Murphy. Larry Murphy, same thing. Another Hall of Fame player. Started his career in the Ontario Hockey League and went on to be in the Hall of Fame. And those are two guys that I was fortunate enough not only to play with the Detroit Red Wings, but also to win Stanley Cups with. And that's what those guys are, character players. And a lot of that has to do with that 16, 17, 18 years old being impacted by these two gentlemen to my left right here. Fantastic coaches, fantastic people, and that's what they do. So, and then for myself, obviously with me, as soon as you say Chris Draper, I think everything goes to the grind line. Kirk Mulkey and Darren McCarty. Kid around with those guys that they were both scorers in the OHL. Both, I believe, had 50 or 50 plus goal seasons. I became their centerman and we turned into a checking line. So it kind of shows you the skills that I had. But I was fortunate enough to play, to me, not only one of the greatest coaches in our game, but one of the greatest people, the great Brian Kilray. My career was short in the OHL. I played about 40 games. I kind of took a different way there, but my experiences with the Ottawa 67s and playing for Brian Kilray, that's a man who impacted me not only as a hockey player, but also off the ice. And I think those are the things that when you sit here and you listen to these two coaches play, I kind of got fired up and wanted to play as well. Just listening to them, you could see, why they're going to be successful in this league for a long time. So those are the guys that I talk about that played in the Detroit Red Wings. Manny Legacy, another player that had a great OHL career and was part of the Detroit Red Wing organization. We talked about Philip Hronik, who's playing in Saginaw right now. After we drafted him, he wanted to play in the Ontario Hockey League to basically challenge himself and make himself a better player. So he's in Saginaw, and then our second round pick, Giovanni Smith, who's playing out of Guelph. Big power forward that's playing there. So this game, December 4th, is perfect. It's an easy game for me to scout, and I'm looking forward to that. And I believe there's going to be close to 12 players that are draft eligible that are going to be in that game. So I think it's going to be anytime you can get two rivalries and put them on the ice and put them in this kind of environment, you expect that the game is obviously going to be a heck of a game, high tempo, high pace. I'll be here looking forward to it. I think it's a tremendous opportunity. This is obviously a very special place for me, playing 18 years with the Detroit Red Wings. Very special place for me, Joe Louis Arena. So I know that when they're coming down, crossing the border, the Windsor Spitfires, and Saginaw coming down 75 and I-75 and wheeling into Joe Louis Arena, I know that these young men and these young hockey players are going to be very excited to be playing in Joe Louis Arena. And on behalf of the Detroit Red Wings, we welcome both organizations, and the expectations are it's going to be a fabulous hockey game.
I agree with the guys, what they said about the opportunity here. I was pretty fortunate being able to play our home games here back in 92, 93, through that era, and to come into this building with understanding the atmosphere and Steve with it, and the people that have played there before, the opportunity for these kids to come in here and have an opportunity to play in front of everyone is going to be fantastic. I think the environment's great. People always ask me personally, because of my injury going back, would you have changed anything, this or that? And if I could go back and do it all again, I would certainly play in the Ontario Hockey League. As a gentleman, both all these guys have already touched on, is the atmosphere you get by playing and the impact that these guys put on your life. It is fantastic, and these kids are really fortunate to have this opportunity. It should be an outstanding event, and looking forward to the game.